Hello everybody, welcome to Blurred TV. How are you all? Hope you are in the best of your health. So today we are going to talk about the gigantic and the beautiful Eiffel Tower and some secrets in the constructions, in the making of the Eiffel Tower, which most of you may not know. The Eiffel Tower is a wrought iron lattice tower on the Champ de Mars in Paris, France. It is named after the engineer Gustave Eiffel, whose company designed and built the tower. He made his name with various bridges for the French railway network, most famously the Garabit Viaduct. He is best known for the world-famous Eiffel Tower, built for the 1889 Universal Exposition in Paris, and his contribution to building the Statue of Liberty in New York. After his retirement from engineering, it is named after the engineer Gustave Eiffel, whose company designed and built the tower. Locally nicknamed La Dame de Fer, meaning French for Iron Lady, it was constructed from 1887 to 1889, and now it has become a global cultural icon of France and one of the most recognizable structures in the world. The Eiffel Tower is the most visited paid monument in the world. The tower is 324 meters tall, about the same height as an 81-story building, and the tallest structure in Paris. Its base is square, measuring 125 meters on each side. During its construction, the Eiffel Tower surpassed the Washington Monument to become the tallest man-made structure in the world. It was the first structure in the world to surpass both the 200-meter and 300-meter mark in height. Due to the addition of a broadcasting aerial at the top of the tower in 1957. Excluding transmitters, the Eiffel Tower is the second tallest freestanding structure in France after the Millau Viaduct. The tower has 3 levels for visitors, with restaurants on the first and second levels. The top level's upper platform is 276 meters above the ground. The highest observation deck accessible to the public in the European Union. Tickets can be purchased to ascend by stairs or lift to the first and second levels. The climb from ground level to the first level is over 300 steps, as it is the climb from the first level to the second. Although there is a staircase to the top level, it is usually accessible only by lift. Now let's have some talk about history. The design of the Eiffel Tower is attributed to Maurice Coselin and Émile Noguer, 2 senior engineers working for the Compagnie des Establishments Eiffel. It was envisioned after discussion about a suitable centerpiece for the proposed 1889 Exposition Universelle, a World's Fair to celebrate the centennial of the French Revolution. Eiffel openly acknowledged that inspiration for a tower came from the Lighting Observatory built in New York City in 1853. In May 1884, working at home, Coselin made a sketch of their idea, described by him as a great pylon, consisting of 4 lattice girders standing apart at the base and coming together at the top, joined together by metal trusses at regular intervals. Eiffel initially showed little enthusiasm, but he did approve further study, and the 2 engineers then asked Stephen Silvestri, the head of company's architectural department, to contribute to the design. Silvestri added decorative arches to the base of the tower, a glass pavilion to the first level, and other embellishments. The new version gained Eiffel's support. He bought the rights to the patent on the design which Coselin, Noguer, and Silvestri had taken out, and the design was exhibited at the Exhibition of Decorative Arts in the autumn of 1884 under the company name. On 30th March 1885, Eiffel presented his plans to the Société des Ingénieurs Civils. After discussing the technical problems and emphasizing the practical uses of the tower, he finished his talk by saying the tower would symbolize not only the art of the modern engineer, but also the century of industry and science in which we are living, and for which the way was prepared by the great scientific movement of the 18th century and by the revolution of 1789, to which this monument will be built as an expression of France's gratitude. Little progress was made until 1886, when Jules Grévy was re-elected as President of France and Edward Locqueray was appointed as Minister for Trade. A budget for the exposition was passed, and on 1st May, Locqueray announced an alternation to the terms of the open competition being held for a centerpiece to the exposition, which effectively made the selection of Eiffel's design a foregone conclusion, as entries had to include a study for a 300-meter, that is 980-feet, four-sided metal tower on the Champ de Mars. A 300-meter tower was then considered a Herculean engineering effort. On 12 May, a commission was set up to examine Eiffel's scheme and its rivals, which, a month later, decided that all the proposals except Eiffel's were either impractical or lacking in details. After some debate about the exact location of the tower, a contract was signed on 18 January 1887. This was signed by Eiffel acting on his capacity rather than as a representative of his company, and granted him 1.5 million francs towards the construction costs, less than a quarter of the estimated 6.5 million francs. Eiffel was to receive all income from the commercial exploitation of the tower during the exhibition and for the next 20 years. He later established a separate company to manage the tower, putting up half the necessary capital himself. The proposed tower had been a subject of controversy, drawing criticism from those who did not believe it was feasible and those who objected on artistic grounds. Prior to the Eiffel Tower's construction, no structure had ever been constructed to the height of 300 meters or even 200 meters for the matter, and many people believed it was impossible. These objections were an expression for a long-standing debate in France about the relationship between architecture and engineering. It came to a head as work began at the Champ de Mars. A committee of 300, one member of each meter of the tower's height, was formed, led by the prominent architect Charles Garnier, and including some of the most important figures of the arts such as William Adolphe Bouguereau, Guy de Maupassant, Charles Gounod, and Jules Massenet. A petition called Artists Against the Eiffel Tower was sent to the Minister of Works and Commissioner for the Exposition, Adolphe Alphand, and it was published by Le Temps on 14 February 1887. We writers, painters, sculptors, architects, and passionate devotees of the hitherto untouched beauty of Paris protest with all our strength, with all our indignation, in the name of slighted French taste against the erection of this useless and monstrous Eiffel Tower, to bring our arguments home. Imagine for a moment a jaded, ridiculous tower dominating a Paris like a gigantic black smokestack, crushing under its barbaric bulk Notre Dame, the Tour Saint-Jacques, the Louvre, the Dome of Les Invalides, the Arcs de Triomphe. All of our humiliated monuments will disappear in this ghastly dream. And for 20 years we shall see stretching like a blot of ink the hateful shadow of the hateful column of bolted sheet metal. Gustave Eiffel responded to these criticisms by comparing his tower to the Egyptian pyramids. My tower will be the tallest edifice ever erected by man. Will it not also be grandiose in its way? And why would something admirable in Egypt become hideous and ridiculous in Paris? These criticisms were also dealt with by Edouard Lecoury in the letter of support written to Alphand, sardonically saying, judging by the stately swell of the rhythms, the beauty of the metaphors, the elegance of its delicate and precise style, one can tell this protest is the result of collaboration of the most famous writers and poets of our time. And he explained that the protest was irrelevant since the project had been decided upon months before and construction on the tower was already underway. Indeed, Garnier was the member of the Tower Commission that has examined the various proposals and had raised no objection. Eiffel was similarly unworried, pointing out to a journalist that it was premature to judge and affect the tower slowly on the basis of the drawings, that the Champ de Mars was distance enough for the monuments mentioned in the protest for there to be little risk of the tower overwhelming them, and putting the aesthetic argument for the tower, do not the laws of natural forces always conform to the secret laws of harmony? Some of the protesters changed their minds when the tower was built, others remained unconvinced. Guy de Maupassant supposedly ate lunch in the tower's restaurant every day because it was the one place in Paris where the tower was not visible. By 1918, it had become a symbol of Paris, of France, after Guillaume Apollinaire wrote a nationalist poem in the shape of the tower to express his feelings about the war against Germany. Today, it is widely considered to be a remarkable piece of structural art and is often featured in films and literature. Construction. Work on the foundation started on 20th January 1887. Those for the east and south legs were straightforward, with each leg resting on 4 2-meter concrete slabs, one for each of the principal girders for each leg. The west and north legs, being closer to the river Seine, were more complicated. Each slab needed 2 piles installed by using compressed air caissons 15 meter long and 6 meter in the diameter, driven to a depth of 22 meter to support the concrete slabs, which were 6 meter thick. Each of the slabs supported a block of limestone with an inclined top to a bear and supporting shoe of the ironwork. Each shoe was anchored to the stonework by a pair of bolts 10 cm in the diameter and 7.5 meter long. The foundations were completed in 13th June and the erection of the ironwork began. The visible work on site was complemented by the enormous amount of exacting preparatory work that took place behind the scenes. The drawing office produced 1,700 general drawings and 3,621 detailed drawings of the 18,038 different parts needed. The task of drawing the components was complicated by the complex angles involved in the design and the degree of precision required. The position of the rivet holes was specified to within 1 mm and angles worked out to 1 second of arc. The finished components, some already riveted together into sub-assemblies, arrived on horse-drawn carts from factory in the nearby Parisian suburb of the Levallois-Perret and were the first bolted together, with the bolts being replaced with rivets, and construction progressed. No drilling or shaping was done on site. If any part did not fit, it was sent back to the factory for alternation. In all, 18,038 pieces were joined together using 2.5 million rivets. At first, the legs were constructed as cantilevers, but about halfway to the first level, construction was paused to create a substantial timber scaffold. This renewed concerns about the structural integrity of the tower and sensational headlines such as Eiffel's suicide and Gustave Eiffel had gone mad. He has been confined in an asylum, appeared in the tabloid press. At this stage, a small creeper crane designed to move up the tower was installed in each leg. They made use of the guides for the lifts, which were to be fitted in the 4 legs. The critical stage of joining the legs at the first level was completed by the end of March 1888. Although the metalwork had been prepared with the utmost attention to detail, provision had been made to carry out small adjustments to precisely align the legs. Hydraulic jacks were fitted to the shoes at the base of each leg, capable of exerting a force of 800 tons, and the legs were intentionally constructed at a slightly steeper angle necessary. Being supported by sandboxes on the scaffold, all the construction involved 300 on-site employees. Due to the Eiffel safety precautions and the use of movable gangways, guardrails, and screens, only 1 person died. So guys, did you like today's story? If you did, then please comment, like, and share. And don't forget to subscribe our channel, The Blur TV. Thank you so much for your love and support. Goodbye.